So we're here in Yugawara in Japan, and kind of on the Izu Peninsula. If you look on the map, Japanese very easy to spell. Yugawara, Yugawara, just like every word in Japanese. Very easy to pronounce. Atami, right? Simple. So Nagoya, very easy. Nagoya, right? So anyway, we're here. It's an onsen town, which is a hot spring town. We're up in the mountains. Pretty cool. Pretty cool little town. Very typical onsen town. Little rundown. Getting run down, this place. It's not the most popular, but it's surge pricing and crazy aratami. So we ended up here.
It's pretty beautiful.
Killer. Yeah. Oh yeah. It is. You can enjoy this place for sure. And they have the natural like sulfur water coming out of the ground. So our bath, we haven't used it yet. And Atami last night, there was like a crazy big festival, fireworks. I'll have the video in here. And there was just tons of people. It was really cool, actually. That was fun. So we're going to explore a castle today, and we're going to go around. But we were thinking, I was just chatting here in the morning, having coffee, and you're getting kind of an insight, the little chats we do. So basically, we're in Japan, right? You're gonna find some of the best girlfriends, right, in the world. There's no doubt about it. Japanese girlfriends, not the ones in New York. When I say Japanese girlfriends, I mean very clear when you're living in Japan.
Japanese from Japan.
Because they change. People change when they travel. So when you go to a new place, you might not realize it, but you change very much. So if you're very much in demand, you suddenly become more confident. You suddenly start turning down girls that aren't that hot. Everything changes, right? As your social status goes up and down. Japanese girls, when they're outside Japan, I think why it affects Japanese girls so much is because it's such a monoculture here. So they can't imagine changing their status at all. Like if the girl could be, God, I mean, this is what always blows me away. A girl can be so hot here and she thinks she's like below average. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's just mind-boggling. Yeah, and you're like, what are you thinking, right? And what guys will do, white knight guys will be like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. And then the girl's like, she just thinks, this guy's a total idiot. Like, I got to take advantage. This guy, he doesn't even like... Because it takes a long time for you to see beauty in a new country. So in other words, you can't even see people. Everybody will look the same when you get to a new country. It takes... your perception of the human face is so fine-tuned to what you grew up with, your mother's face, your father's face, whatever kind of faces were around you growing up. And we can see, I said this before, about 100,000 unique expressions in the human face. And that is very important. That's why I don't like masks for kids, because I think it's messing with a very deep, very important deep part of the survival instinct, is understanding what is a dangerous smile, what is a safe smile, what is a taking you serious look, all these very subtle things that we just do naturally. We just do it without thinking. People that were exposed. But anyway, when you get to a new country with new faces, you can't literally see yet. Like, believe it or not, you cannot even see. So what I see whenever foreigners, like, for example, come to Japan is they will pick the worst types. I'm not even talking about personality. I'm just talking about no beauty. Like, if a girl just has a padded bra, whatever, it just like looks like less flat looking, than the other girls. He will just assume he will be targeted. He will be attracted to her, and I think it's kind of like basically you can't stop it. You will do that. Like, we are all human. You will do that, but as long as you know you're doing it, just know that you're an idiot when you get to a new country. You're terrible at choosing. You can't tell the difference between people. You can't even see faces for takes several years, actually. But here's one thing you can do that's very good. Look at the local guys and trust their opinion. Because they are absolutely, in the fishbowl, right? They can see subtle things. And they pick the most beautiful women in their country. The men know, right? And what people will always say is they'll say, oh, in Asia, like, guys only like this type of face, and it's like this and that. The reason why is because they can see. And that is the most beautiful. I mean, I'm not saying it's always true in every case and you can no exceptions, because there are games you can play where you can let me give you an exception that is very important. So, for example, I was in Thailand about 8 years ago, and I was in this food court, and this girl came in, and she was obviously a mother. She had 2 kids and her husband, who was a foreigner. And I literally think she was the most beautiful girl I've ever seen in my entire life. I could not believe how beautiful she was. It was astounding. I mean, it was astounding how beautiful she was. But she had very dark skin. And in Thailand, that's not attractive. It's just not attractive. Now, I know that Thailand is quickly maturing and getting sophisticated. But this is like 10 years ago, and he obviously chose her several years before that, when the Thais hadn't quite got over their biases, right? So there's 2 things. There's beauty and there's bias. So they both exist. So sometimes you can win as a foreigner by playing that what is that called when you buy something in one place, sell in another place? Arbitrage. You're doing arbitrage. So here's the exception, is you come to Japan and get a girl who, for some reason, which isn't logical, everybody isn't attracted to this girl for whatever reason. But on the global stage, she's attractive. Because globally, men know. If you think you know more than all the men in the world, that's when it gets into total delusion, where you start ruining your life. Which goes to my basic theory is men never listen. They just won't listen. No, she is beautiful. She is so beautiful in this one light. And they'll take all these pictures and put on Instagram. And you're just like, that chick, I mean, I don't want to crush the human spirit. I mean, it's fine if you think like a really ugly person is beautiful and all that. That's a beautiful thing. But I think you need to have some kind of reality somewhere. Like, you need to understand you're deluding yourself at some point. Of course, your child is different. You're going to love your child no matter what. And there's certain things. But let's get real. We live in the real world. Okay. So anyway, but that girl in the food court, I just thought to myself, wow, that was the perfect arbitrage, because she was really dark, and at that time, the Thai dark skin girls were not popular, but she was. I mean, this girl was. I can't even describe it. I was just like, every time I looked at her, I was like, what in the hell? She wasn't even my type. That's the thing. I'm not saying I wasn't smitten by her at all. Like, she wasn't even my type. Like, the way she was just absolutely symmetrical and just gorgeous. Absolutely every little thing, her teeth, everything. And she had 2 kids. I couldn't believe it. Like, sometimes you see things, you're just astounded by. I was astounded by her. And I thought, wow, that guy really, the smartest thing he could do is stay in Thailand, because that girl was so beautiful. She will be taken away by some guy. He had it perfect. He was probably living in Nissan, because they had all his suitcases. So he kind of like, if you win the arbitrage game in life, don't fuck it up by taking her anywhere else. Like, she loves you, you love her, it's fine. Yeah, don't mess it up, right? But generally, don't think you're arbitraging when you're not. The basic rule is the local guys know what's beautiful, and listen to them and understand you're a total idiot when you get to a new place. It just takes time to understand what is beautiful. Now, if you come from an Asian background and you're looking at Asian faces, you will see them, right? Easier. Well, not if you were raised, like if you're adopted, maybe it wouldn't be as, it depends on your background, of course. But if you were raised, let's say, in an Asian community, you used to look at Asian faces, you're going to see more easily, more quickly. You'll be the wisest person in the group. Just because of your incredibly sophisticated, we all have, ability to discern the intelligence that we have in choosing a mate that can produce a child that is healthy. Right? That's the bottom line. That's what beauty is, right? We're trying to pick, because symmetry is obviously symmetry of just in case you haven't seen the other video, symmetry of the face and symmetry of the shoulders and everything and the hands is the same as symmetry of the internal organs. So beauty is not skin deep at all, because beauty is symmetry, and symmetry means health, right? And so perfect symmetry means it usually works inside your body too. And that means the heart is the right size. That means the blood vessels are not, you know what I mean, messed up. And everything is just perfectly flowing. And that is what beauty is, right? So that's why beauty is so important. Like, if you want to have a good kid, that's why you don't want to be deluded. Get the best you can. That's what I'm saying. If you're going to have a kid, get the best you can. You know, of course you want a sweet girl and everything, but you want a healthy kid. You don't want to, you know what I mean? You don't want to spend your life with somebody. Yeah, you just don't want that. Like, don't.
Like that's what I want. I want to take care of it.
Right. So back to the topic of the video. That's kind of a background. But so when you get here or you get anywhere, you are going to choose somebody. Okay. Just you're going to get a girl, and the reason why I'm making this video now is because we're in a country with probably like I said, the best girlfriends in the world. So there's a lot of guys here. We got like 20-something guys in different parts right now. We're all kind of meeting up. And everybody's kind of like in different stages of experience with women, right? So some guys have a lot of experience. Some guys have not much or even hardly any, right, romantically. But the thing is that they are being like almost like a museum shown some very attractive models for things they might not think they wanted. Like a lot of people like are migdal basically because they can't get a good girl. Like that's the truth. I'm not saying everybody because that's not true at all. There's a wide variety of guys, but some guys, and you have to look at yourself honestly. Why are you doing something? If you don't understand yourself, you're fucked. Okay, like I remember my sponsor when I first went to the program. Right, he said to me because I kind of quit basically drinking and stuff because I ran out of money, basically. And I was feeling low, and I was like really feeling low. And then I was kind of on a low point because I had no money. And I was thinking, how am I going to party? I got no cash. I may as well quit. You know, that's kind of like my mindset. And a lot of guys are like that. Or a lot of guys, they stop because they get divorced. The wife leaves them. And then they quit, and then she comes back. That's a common story now. But anyway, so for me, it was money. Like I didn't have any money, and I was feeling like, how am I going to keep this lifestyle if I ran out of money? Because I'm not a thief, so I didn't steal. I never stole anything. I was never a thief when I was drinking and using. That was unlike a lot of people in the program. Everybody has a different story. I just worked harder. So I worked super hard as a salesman, and I was making tons of money, and I just spent it all on partying, right? And so I had no money, and I was like, how am I going to survive? I'm doing more and more stuff, and I'm like not able to make any more money because I'm already peaking out. And I know that I'm sleeping less and it's going to go down. So I thought, and if I sell my car, I won't have any money. So anyway, I did it for a reason, but I didn't know I did it for a reason. But the guy who helped me, you call him a sponsor. Anyway, he said to me, he goes, you have extreme danger with one thing. The first time you get money, it's going to seem like a good idea because you came in because of money. And I'm like, no, I've learned since then. He's like, shut up. Like you came in for one reason. And the next time, he kind of repeated it, right? And I thought about it. And I didn't like it at the time, but I thought, I love wisdom, like, especially when it's deliberately for me, right? It's going to help me, like my problem. That's what I'm saying to you. If you have a problem, I have to tell you unattractive information that will help you, right? And he helped me because then when I got money, I thought, all of a sudden I thought, I don't need these guys. You know, I'm fucking making cash. I can just do, I wasn't thinking I'll go drinking. I was just thinking, I don't need these fucking guys. I'm just going to go off on my own. Do whatever. Fuck these guys. You know, they're boring. Everybody's smoking in the meetings. And I don't like smoke. It's bad for my lungs. You know, better to smoke all kinds of other substances, right? So anyway, so you know, that's the logic, right? This is smoking cigarettes. No, don't want that. No. Anything else? Okay, no problem. It's all very healthy, right? Right. But anyway, so why are you in the manosphere, right? So a lot of guys, some guys, few guys, whatever, never had choice of a good woman who is a good girlfriend, who's going to treat them good. But in this country, there's quite a few girls like that as girlfriends. So you're going to be confronted with that. So what are you going to do? You're going to latch on, this is the big danger, to the first girl. And then you're going to be stuck. It's kind of like me. Well, part of the reason why I don't go to strip clubs, like I hate strippers anyway. But if I ever go to one, the first one who grabs me at the door, I have trouble getting rid of her. Whereas like other guys have different personalities. They're just like, get off me, you ugly sucker, you know. And I'm just like, I have trouble. Like they kind of corner me, right? And so then they end up sitting next to me. I'm like, I don't like this. Like everybody's got their own skill set. Like that's not my best skill set. Is getting rid of people. Like I'm just too nice to them. I'm just kind of like, what about her? You know. And she's like, oh yeah, whatever. Yeah. Right here, me, yeah. And I'm kind of like, this one's sticking on me. You know. Anyway, yeah, I know my weakness, right? So, but what you need basically, okay, let me get. I'm trying to cover a few things here. So, know why you're doing something. Know your weakness. Know what's going to take you down. And I'm telling you what's going to take you down is a sweet girl. A sweet girl in Japan is very deadly for a guy who wants to be free. Because you want to be free. Maybe more than, going down that road. But once you get her, it's going to be really hard to get rid of her. Because she's not like a stripper. She's actually a good girl. Like she's actually a traditional girl who wants to fucking have kids for you. And that is very dangerous. Because she's kind of giving you kind of the golden road to that life. If you wanted that life, right? And so it's like, you didn't realize how much you actually are at risk to go into slavery, kind of. You know what I mean? But when you get around that, all of a sudden, like guys are going to drop off. Like I'm telling you, somebody is going to drop off. It happens at Ronin Summits too. It's like, there's guys who are kidding themselves and they don't realize why they're doing stuff and they're not honest with themselves completely. You know what I mean? And maybe it's too hard on the ego or whatever, but I recommend don't be like that. Be hard on your own ego. Just take it in the fucking chin. Take it on the chin. Say, you know what? Fuck, he's right. I'm at risk. Okay, I'll listen to this video, right? And then the other type. Okay, so one thing I'm really good at. One of my skills that I've developed being independent and free and kind of like staying up with people. Like I have so many friends, I stay at their houses, right? So I see the interaction with them and their wife. I'm very good at seeing the woman for who she is. So if you have a woman that you want someone to figure out for you, I'm the guy. Like I am so good at it. The girls have no idea. I'm like an undercover detective spy in the house, right? Watching her, and she has no idea how perceptive I am and how much I know women. So just one little thing she says will give me a total, then I'll know. I'll have a clue. All I need is a clue. Then I go down that rabbit hole and I figure out her real background, right? Or what she's really thinking, or how she really keeps the house, or how she really thinks about you doing some hobby or your money situation, or whatever it is that you're just happily thinking she's totally fine, everything's great. I will figure out, and especially with a girl that I speak the language, Japanese, Chinese girls, they are very happy to meet me because I speak comfortably. You might speak some Chinese or some Japanese, but I speak comfortably. So the girls are like comfortable with me. They're like, I'm not perfect, but I'm comfortable. So the girls are like, I can just talk to you all day in Japanese or whatever. And they just talk. And in that talk, I'm hearing everything about who she was before she met you. Because who she is, like chameleon, right? They're all chameleons, right? Women, that's what they do. In a good way and a bad way. Like the chameleon, good part of chameleon is that they kind of get on board with your program. So a good girl, right? You're the president of whatever Panasonic, she's going to be a good wife for you. Because she knows that's the best thing, rather than following her hobbies of watching Pokemon all day, eating chocolate, right? That hobby wasn't that valuable, but being the wife of Panasonic president is more valuable to her. And girls easily shift to the more valuable role. They're like, oh, that's better than what I was doing. Laying around, eating cookies in bed, crying, watching sad dramas, Korean dramas. I prefer this life, right? So the chameleon is not, I want to show you, the chameleon is not evil. It is a good thing. The problem is guys don't know it's chameleon. And they think that's actually who she is. So what I'm really good at is figure out who she really is. Any girl.
Can you give some examples of what? Can you give some examples of what bad things you might find in a girl like that?
Oh man. Oh God. In a date, I figure shit out. Like, that's a great question. So let me think. Yeah, you won't know who this is, and nobody will know. So okay, let me think here. So I was with a friend, I won't say which country, and his wife was actually very good. This was a different situation. She was like a really good wife. She was a better wife than he was
Husband.
like a husband, yeah. I knew him first, so he brought me in. The guy was kind of messed up. He was extremely depressed, like at an extreme level, like just glassy-eyed, laying in bed a lot. But he was also very good at his job. I won't say what the job was, but he made good money, and he had a beautiful Japanese wife, right? And so they had beautiful kids. They had like a bunch of beautiful kids. And the problem is that he thought that he was handling his depression and it wasn't affecting the family. He still thinks that. But in reality, it was devastating. Because the girl, I knew her from Japan. I knew her here before they moved. And she was like a spark. Like me and her, we just like laughing all the time, spark. She was one of those sparks. But those spark people can get snuffed out if they're around depression and that kind of thing. Like it doesn't work. They can't keep that if they're stuck in a depressing situation. And she was like really losing it. She was losing herself. You know what I mean? She was like getting, and it was so difficult. She had the kids and she loved the kids. But she was just, and she wasn't going to leave. She wasn't that type. She wasn't going to take the kids back to Japan. But the thing was, is she was just, it was ruining her. She was totally lost. She didn't have her family. She didn't have the support. So she's just putting on this front. And she's kind of a good girl, so she really does a good job putting on the front. But if you know anything about kids and child development and stuff, a very depressed father and a mother who's like crushed and just making do, like kids are really messed up by this kind of stuff. The house is permeated with this problem that's going on, right? And I don't know how to fix it. I don't know what could have been fixed. But it was like really obvious that this was like really an extremely sad situation, really, at the end of the day. And I couldn't see how to fix it. But I know that the only way that it could, there's a chance of fixing is by calling it out. So like,
Telling the guy, maybe?
but by that guy, by like that guy facing his own demons, totally. Like he needed some kind of serious help. And the family did too. I don't know what it is, but now that I'm thinking, maybe I'll think of it. I can tell him. Right? But he needed some kind of like really good person that really knows what they're doing. Because they had good things to work with. You know what I mean? It wasn't like a shit show, right? Even it was a tragedy. So I could see that, like, there was no problems with any kind of abuse of anything or like that. It was just like a really kind of more terrible in a way. Like that's pretty terrible to me. Because drinking, you can just quit, right? Gambling, you can just quit. But this kind of stuff, you don't just quit. And the kids, like, they don't understand what they're going through, right? But I could feel it. It was dark. It was dark. Like, God, what the fuck? I would not want to be a fucking kid in that house. As hard as the parents are trying, right? So I saw that, and I was only there for a few days. I think 2 days. Maybe even one night. And the guy had no idea. He really believed, I'm successful. I keep this thing under control. I work out. You know what I mean? Like, I got 2 good kids. I got, or however many it was. I can't remember, actually. It was several years ago. But I got good kids. I got a great wife. I got a great house. Everything's good. But life can, as you guys know, like, life is complicated. It can look good. It can be absolute fucking hell, right? Like, really hell. And you just got to get out of a situation sometimes, right? Or get serious help. Like, really confront your demons hard. And it's so hard to find somebody that's that smart that would know how to fix that guy. I don't know what the fuck he could have done. There was a depression I couldn't understand. I've seen depressed people. Like, I've had friends at my house who were glassy-eyed, laying in bed all day. But I think this guy was worse. I think there was some kind of extreme thing going on, right? That was my feeling. And he totally thought it was under control. He thought it was fine. He could put on a smile. but it wasn't. It was like I could feel the haze in the house. You know what I mean? It was like there was a dark cloud, like waist high, just through the house, and it was just like, holy shit, what's going to happen, right? So that was one situation. Let me think of other situations. So other situations where, you know, the girl will speak a language and he just has no idea who she is. Like, obviously the basics you probably guessed, right? She has a super high body count. Yeah, I've seen that before. I've seen girls that don't, and I'm talking interracial, intercultural marriages, you know, where they really don't like the guy at all. You know what I mean? Like, they really don't like the guy. Like, they don't like his culture. They don't like the guy. And the thing is, his best decision would be to get out of there. You know what I mean? To leave that situation. I have no idea what this announcement is. Let's not get near the door there anymore. Wow, that's like really loud. You know, like a real, if the guy knew how much she actually really didn't like him, he wouldn't stay in the marriage. Like, she didn't like him. I think that's a key thing. Your wife has to at least like you. If she doesn't like you, she doesn't have to love you, but at least like you. If she doesn't like you, I think you just get out. I don't want to be around anybody. If they don't like you, that's, to me, that's more important than love. If they don't like you, they kind of despise you. They don't. And I said this in an early Ronin video. One of the easiest way to find out if somebody likes you is if you're in a big crowd or in a large park and you see them walking. As soon as they see your face, the expression they have for that microsecond tells you if they like you. So you don't have to wonder. You can see it in their face. So don't be fooled by what they say. I'm not saying people are trying to fool you. They might be trying to be nice or polite or whatever. But you want to know if people actually want to be around you and like you, you know. Because if they're around you for another reason, it gets pretty dark. Because it might be because you have money. It might be because connections or whatever, some other reason that if you really knew that, would you agree to the same thing as if you thought, fuck this person? You know what I mean? Like, we've got something here. That's why bonding is so important too, because I'm not saying the first time you see somebody, because often you don't know who they are yet. But once you know somebody, you're like, okay, I see who they are. I see where we fit together. That's cool. That's fine. But if they don't like you, they haven't found that. They just don't like you. And I say, get the fuck out of there, right? So don't kid yourself. You see it in the first moment, and you will know. You will fucking know. This one thing can change your life. Like, if she looks at you, and it's even better if I see it or you see it for another guy, because you're watching like a hawk, and he's just sitting there being himself. But it's very easy for me to be in a situation and see her face and body language, and I know right away. And the sad thing is, here's the sad thing, is most of the time she doesn't anymore. And so guys don't want to know this information, which gets me down to the point of the video, is that guys don't want to know. Like, that's the problem. Like, I'm the best guy that I know to take around your wife or girlfriend to figure her out like a detective and give you the information. But the reason why I don't do it, the reason why there's no demand for that service is just simply because guys, they logically think they want to know. But when I tell them, I'll say, you know, she actually doesn't like you. She is very, very homesick. She actually hates your country and doesn't really like people from that country. And this and that, I'll just say just directly. And the guy's like, yeah, but you know, I know. Because they know, right? They kind of know. But I know. but you know what? It's working pretty good, or she's all right, or it's kind of like okay, because the bottom line is that I guess the bottom line is actually complicated. I shouldn't say like line. It's not a line, but it could be that he's not confident to get enough to get another woman, or he might think he's too old, or he might think, well, better hang on to this relationship because I get respect. It's good for my church. He's got some kind of like compromise, just like she does, that she doesn't know, right? So he's got some reason to be with her, maybe that is not just that he is, wants like a pure reason, basically, right? So a lot of people, like both people are living a lie, right? So when I tell you her lie, you have to confront your own lie, because you suddenly say, well, actually, I know she doesn't like me. I know this stuff, but I'm just using her for this. And so you realize how fake the whole world is, right? And so like a lot of guys, they don't really want to know any kind of truth about her. So my service is not valuable to them, because all it does is bring them to their own demons. But like, I love to know my own demons. So that's fine. Like, I want to know quickly as possible, where am I lying? Where am I full of shit, right? And then I can see hers and I can see mine, and then I can make a smart decision. But usually most guys don't want to. That's why guys don't want to know the truth, is because it's not really just her, right? It's your own compromise in this world. Compromise of who you're being with, where you work, what you're doing, everything, right? And it's your fear. You're afraid of trying something new. I tell you, man, like I was just one of the guys here at the summit from Holland, right? And there's him and there's another guy from Finland, right? And those two guys, if we can get them into a new set of clothes, that would be a miracle. Because I can tell those two guys, they have a set of clothes they wear. And if we can get them into like even like a crazy thing that they hate, just to wear that for a few days and be able to like handle the people looking at them and them looking in the mirror and seeing a new face, a new look, it's going to be like pulling teeth, getting them to try a whole new outfit. I mean, shoes, shorts, socks, like a completely different look
Start with your head.
will be so difficult for them. Yeah, a new haircut.
Make the hat. No, make them wear your head.
A hat, yeah.
Your head.
Oh yeah, yeah, a hat. And like because we're so stuck in not only our clothes, but our clothes in the metaphorical sense of everything we have around us, like to decorate our personalities, right? And so that's one thing I love about psychedelics is I can see straight into the truth when like if I ever trip, because I can just, it's so fucking easy because I'm that way anyway. And so my mind just goes, wow, 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 wow. And just like straight in, because I love it. I'm not scared of that. I like the truth, but the truth is scary, right? You know what I mean? It is scary because you realize the world's not what you think. But I think personally, I accept it all. I think it's great. All the lies we tell ourselves, all the things we do, and how we sometimes can accept and face, and other times we can't in our human weakness or whatever, or we do our best to face stuff, I like that. I think that's what it is. I think that's what we're doing here. You know what I mean? So it's like accepting the things we can, right? So I don't mind, but I know a lot of people, they say, well, fuck, if I accept this, where is this going to end? Like maybe my whole life is a fraud, right? Right. And it usually is, right? Like that's why they're doubting it, is probably your life is a fraud, basically, in a nutshell. But I don't want to give away the answer, right? And that's when you start to say, well, what other fucking things can I do? Like really, what is a fraud worth? It's worth nothing. A fraud is worth less than nothing because it's wasting your valuable time on this planet, right? So, but guys, they don't want to, this is a lot of work, a lot of thinking, and they're too old and they don't have enough money to think about these things or whatever. So they just continue on. It's like, oh, I'll just accept this shitty fraud that just sucks and actually will never get better at all, right? It's like, that's my best choice, right? I say,
when I have more money.
When I have more money,
I'll think about it.
I'll face the fraud. Yeah. When I have, another $2,000. Yeah. When I have $10,000, $100,000, $10 million. Like when I have $1 billion, I'll face life. It's like no, you're gonna face it right now as you are. Living in a cave or whatever, or up on a hill, right? So to me, that's kind of what Ronin Man is actually. At the end of the day, is finding the truth about myself and about everybody else, and I think that it's not scary, because the scary thing is that you don't want to see. That's why you're scared. You just don't want to see. You're so afraid of seeing what's in front of you, because the guys, they always know when I tell them, but they never act on it. They never act on it. Very few guys act on anything that I say in real life. They just think about it. You know what I mean? Like very few guys are like, oh, I'm going to do that. Like really, very fucking few. Or any truth that you get. It's just like, it's nice there's truth there, and I like that. It's great. Thank you for telling me that. And I just continue. This is what I'm going to do. And then you get to the point where I didn't want to hear those guys anymore. I can't fucking listen to this channel. Like, no more truth for me. I'm done. My cup, like that is scary, right? But the thing, I don't know. I was trying to think of why I'm not scared of really the unthinkable, right? I just think it's like, and I just look at all the molecules and everything, like, and it's just like, when you think about it in the sense of meaning, it gets scary, right? But if you get down to molecules, it's not scary at all, right? It's just a bunch of, you know what I mean? Like different molecules around different shapes and doing shit. Like that's what I see. Like that's kind of the bottom line, is like back to what we really are, right? Genes and molecules and shit. And that level is not scary at all. It's the constructs that are scary, really. It's the constructs and why we stay in those constructs, right? And why we don't face all that stuff. But in the end of the day, if you want to get to the simple, hopefully when we're in Shimoda, the beautiful beach, just one day, just get up at like 4 or whatever, swim out pretty damn far. There's no sharks in Japan. I've never heard of a shark attack in my entire life. So swim out far enough that the houses start disappearing, right? That you can't see the houses anymore. And then like you'll see that nothing from humanity is visible anymore. That's what I'll do in the morning, right? I'll swim out and I'll just look around. You just see the trees and stuff. And you realize that the world never changed, right? It's like you're just still everything. And then you come closer and closer to humanity. You almost don't want to go back. You're kind of like, I don't really want to. And then you get back and you're happy and you see your friends and everything's fine. Because there is good stuff there. But like part of me just very happy out there seeing that when it's kind of like in space, you can't see anything made from man, right? There was a lie. You could never see the Great Wall. That was all the big lie. That an American, some knucklehead astronaut said, or somebody said he said, and then the Chinese government loved it because they're like, we are so powerful. But it's absolute lie, and they don't talk about it anymore because now the Chinese have satellites, and you can't see anything. There's nothing man has ever made is visible. But you can even get it in the water. That's what's so cool. I did that in India the first time. I was in Goa and I swam out because I was kind of tired of all these people complaining about Indians and everything. So I swam out in the morning and I just looked and I could not see anything human. I thought, wow. And I just did it every morning. I went out there, And it was beautiful because it wasn't that I'm getting away. It was like, that's really what it is. That's why I don't get too worried about the SJWs or America. People are like, oh, you're not like patriotic. It's not really there. Doesn't really exist. The whole thing's just a big construct. Nationality, defense. It's cool and everything. It's cool to be part of a construct. It is interesting. A house is, construct. But it is just a construct. Like in the bottom line, it's you just look beyond all that shit and whatever's left is what it is. You know what I mean? So whatever you find, that once you get out of it, that's what I found. But I mean, you might find something else. Like you might be looking in the telescope or into microscope and see different than what I see out in the water, right? You might see a different perspective on reality. But for me, swimming is enough. I just, water, ocean. And I that's why I never think California is ruined. Like I never feel, because a lot of the emotions everybody's feeling now, depression, everything, is because they're depressed by the constructs, are not doing what they want, right? And everything's not going according to plan. We just have to try harder and make the constructs stronger and thicken the walls and everything. Believe in them more and, have songs that support that and everything. And I just go out, swim out, and I see, I was like, oh, what's left? What's left is this beautiful fucking place, right? And that's it. I'm here in this beautiful place, right? And there's danger, right? Sharks and shit. And waves and, but that's it. We're just like, there's probably an ocean of methane somewhere, right? Where there's probably some bugs swimming in that, right? And some planet somewhere, right? Or some other liquid, right? But that's kind of the same thing, right? It's like there's probably other planets, and they're on the same reality, really, because that's all. And then it's just endless fucking of that shit out there, right? That's it. Yeah. So, I think I'm finished. Yeah.